Good afternoon and welcome to It's Tip Demo Time. Hi, I'm Jean with Captain Stitches. Welcome everyone, and I have already been in the chat talking with the early birds this afternoon, so I have welcomed all of them in that have been there. Welcome to you, Debbie. It is great to see you also this afternoon. We've had quite the conversation going on since I was here a little bit early, had things set up, and able to just chat with a few of you. Hello, June. It is great to see you as well. Welcome. And excuse this pink monster right here. I was trying to get a closer view for you this afternoon, so we'll just put up with that and say hello to the camera there, everyone. That's kind of hanging around in the way, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. So this afternoon, doing things a little bit differently. I was having a hard time deciding exactly what I wanted to do. Hello, Tracy. It is great to see you as well. And Letitia, welcome to you popping in. And so I got out my trusty thimble that I use when I need to make decisions and draw things. So I kind of looked around in the cottage, didn't have to look far, and I wrote down on a slip of paper every one of the whips that are laying out around me, just kind of glaring at me saying, oh, when are you going to work on me? When are you going to work on me? And hello to you also, Agnes. Welcome. And Debbie Williams, it is great to see you also this afternoon. Thank you both for popping in. But so I decided that I was going to pull a project from my thimble, which I did so that I would have it located and ready and over here. And out of, oh, there's several pieces of paper. Yeah, that's half of them. There's there's two handfuls here of slips. Those are just the projects, the whips that are laying right around me out that I have been working on recently, or maybe some of them not so recently, and decided that they needed to be worked on. Set that out of the way. And the one that got pulled is the one that is in this awesome Three Sisters Moda lunch bucket kit that I have and use for holding projects in. And welcome to you, Katie Crafts, as well. It is great to see you, Denise Soulpatch. Welcome. Everyone popping in at the same time. So pay close attention. A New York beauty, Mike, soul brother. This may clear up things that we were talking about this morning, that you accused me of drinking when I told you what I was going to be doing this afternoon. But yes, it was kind of a secretive way of telling you, not giving you what was really going on. But when I open this up, you will catch what I was talking about. And the project that I drew was going back to one of the slow stitch projects that I'm working on, which is this beautiful tattooing, slow stitching of my hand. So now, Mike, you will understand why I said I'm going to tattoo my hand this afternoon. And he thought I was crazy, asked me what I was drinking. I was drinking coffee. But welcome, Mama J Enterprises. Andrea, it is great to see you as well. And so yes, I kind of just a little bit, but not being untruthful, led Mike astray this morning. Had him wondering. So anyway, I am going to be working on this slow stitch project this afternoon and giving a few tips on that as I work on that. And that is why this camera is kind of in the way, because I wanted to get as close a view as I could. My tablet does not zoom in, so I have to bring it down instead for the view. But yes, I said, are you drinking? Yes, you did, Mike. Yeah, and there wasn't anything in my coffee either. And Katie says, I would ask what you were drinking also. You know, it's funny though. I really do want a tattoo right here. And I want it to be a thimble and a needle and thread. But I don't think that's ever going to happen, so you don't have to worry about it. But before I get into this project and change the camera view, I did want to show you a couple things that I have been working on that I have found really addictive and love. And the one you saw in my week in review, which is what is called the Huggable Tote. And it is made out of bulky weight yarn. It's called Huggable because the yarn that she actually uses in her original project is blanket yarn. So it is very, very soft and cuddly. In fact, you know, if you were on a plane and you were using that, you could put that underneath your head and use it as a pillow because it would really be nice and soft. It does hurt. Not sure what you're saying hurts, but I have a huge one. Okay. And yes, I love this tote. And I am going to be making some matching accessories to be used in a side of that as well. But right now, I am, whoops, almost missed that over there. I am working on another one currently, and I told you about the metallic sparkle colored yarns that I am using in this one, along with a variegated one with my hook out of there. And I'm not finished with it, so trying to get my yarns here so I don't undo it. But this is the one that I'm working on right now, and I don't think the light is going to pick up the sparkle in that yarn, and it's not going to pick it up there either. But these two yarns right here, there, I think it picks it up a little on the peacock colored one, but that is metallic and it sparkles like glitter going through the project. But yeah, the light will not hit that right to show that sparkle up. But that is the one that I am working on right now. So we will get those out of the way. And now I can move this back over here. And oops, we better put my crochet hook back in there or I'll be looking for that later on saying, where did that go? And let me see. A tattoo hurts. Okay. Yes, I believe they probably do. But and Joe from is Vintage Style. Joe is here also. Welcome to you. Tracy says, beautiful bag. Love it. Thank you, Tracy. And Carol says, love the bag. And Andrea says, howdy, Debbie, Mikey, Michelle, Jean, and all my friends. I hope everyone is having a blessed day. Thank you, Andrea, and you as well. And ooh, love the colors. Yes, those are kind of some of my favorite colors. Yes, sparkle yarn. Yes, we were talking about that earlier on before I went on and had time to talk with the ones that were in the chat early. And Mike says to Joe, he needs that yarn. And she's telling, yes, you do. Okay, so now to get to the project at hand instead. Oh, that's neat, Michelle. She says that she wants a small tattoo of an elephant holding a forget-me-not in honor of her dad. I love that. That is awesome. And Andrea says, wow, Jean, you were busy while I was without power last week. I missed a lot. Actually, those were made in just a couple days. So yeah, I crochet very, very, very fast and been doing it for years. But anyway, I am going to switch the camera view as soon as I figure out where I'm at. And I am going to say bye-bye, and I am going to be working with the overhead camera here so that you can see better what I am doing while I do the embroidery work on this slow stitch project of my hand. And I will share with you, and you will see there are a few changes that I have made on this, but this is the picture that I found on Pinterest and took it as my inspiration for doing this. I thought it was beautiful and decided I would like to try something like that. What I plan on doing is doing the hands of each member in my family and putting them in a stitching book together. And Debbie says, like that tote you're making now. My copy of the Southwest Crochet book came yesterday. Woo-hoo! You will not find that pattern in that book, however, though, Debbie. But it is, I believe I did leave the link to that in my week in review. If you go back in the description box on that, I do believe that I left it there. So on this little heart here, I am using this variegated thread. Seem to like these colors a lot, but I'm using this variegated thread, and I am doing a very small chain stitch to fill in this heart. And over where my other needle is over here, which is going to be like water going through here, I am using a blue variegated, which is this one. And these are Valdani number 8 pearl cottons. And that is what I am using right now until I switch over to a different section of that. But I'm going to put that needle over there out of my way, grab that yarn, and I'm going to continue to work on the chain stitching. I'm going to turn this around. Try not to catch my work on those needles I've got sticking out there. I think I need to put those down a little flatter there. But this is a very, very tiny chain stitch that I am doing working around here. And I know you won't be able to see this real well as I do it, but hey, it's at an odd angle for me to work at as well. Whoops, got to turn that a little. But a chain stitch is just going right in the loop of the one you did. Okay, as we slide. Coming up below it, it's like a little lazy daisy stitch for those of you that do embroidery work as well. But you just go down there, come up, catch your loop at the bottom. Your next stitch goes right back in that loop, which it kind of looks like the chain links on a bracelet or a fence, and that's the reason why it is called a chain stitch. And they are all chained together as you do them. But that is the stitch that I am working to fill this entire heart. So it will be filled up solidly. And you can sure tell that it is humid in here today because the needle is not wanting to slide through the fabric as smoothly as it normally does. Thank you, June. She says that she likes the tote. And Debbie is lurking. Okay. And Jim is here. Welcome to you, Jim, as well. There, yeah, I don't think in that book there is, Debbie. There's only the ones for the baskets. I don't believe there's a tote pattern in that, but the one that is this is a free one that she has a tutorial on her YouTube channel. So it's very easy for you to get. And she gives the link and you can print out the pattern. But Yeah, the one that you're talking about, she puts the long handles on. It's actually the basket pattern, which we are talking about. Pretty Peaceful. It's her name. And I'm sorry, I was saying hello to Jim. Good afternoon to you. It is great to see you as well. Popped in there while I wasn't looking. And Tracy says, beautiful stitch work. Thank you very much. Thank you. Didn't know that you could actually, well, I always go the wrong direction, but we'll see if you can see the chain stitches on the heart that I am working on. Sorry, a little shaky today, but that is what I am working on presently, is this heart right there. And doing, as I said, teeny tiny little chain stitches on it. And because it's going on a curve, I have to keep moving the fabric as I do it. And that is also why the stitches are small, because we are working on a curve, and to keep that curve going, you need to make small stitches. And I'm trying not to cover up my work as I stitch this, but just, whoa, we almost got a knot in that. Just not a simple way to show you. And every once in a while, which what I'm doing right now, you can't see, but I am letting my needle hang down to let the twist. When you do stitching, you just naturally at times get a twist in your yarn, and I was letting that twist untwist so that I don't end up with knots in my thread. If you don't take the time to do that, it's very easy to then end up with a knot in your thread as you are working. And we are coming, which this one, just because I want to match where I am going to need to end. Nope, I'm going to make it into 2 stitches because that is too far to go. I thought I was going to make a longer stitch, but that would have been just a little bit too long. So we're going to make it into 2 teeny tiny ones to end up where I need to be to start on that next round of going around. And you will see that this is the same thread going all around here. It looks like the colors have been changed, but they haven't. It is the variegation in the thread that just changes as I keep working and going around on this. And the thing about slow stitching is I am using, something for inspiration. However, there is no particular pattern. There is no particular plan. You decide what you want to do, what stitches you want to do as you go along and work it. So it is very, very relaxing. It's very therapeutic. It's a great way to just sit and clear your mind. It is great for if you have anxiety, depression, that type of thing, because it just takes your mind off everything. And it's portable, something you can pick up at any time and just decide you want to start working on it. You can have it in your huggable tote bag, a project or two. So at any time, anywhere you are, you can sit down and just pick it up and start working on it. And it's also a great way to practice your embroidery stitches and try them, different ones, new ones you haven't tried, and that out. See, again, and I can't get that into view, but I'm letting that thread and untangle once again. Oops, took too big a stitch there. Take that needle back out and adjust it. We almost took too small a stitch there. That's okay. It all blends in. We just want to keep working around until we have that heart completely filled in. That's my plan for right now anyway. I can always change that plan as I work. And Debbie says, okie dokie, I'll look it up. Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that I left the link and all that information in my week in review video, because I did show the brown tweed one that I did in that video. And whenever I'm using someone else's pattern, I always like to give them credit and leave their information for it for those that are interested in looking it up and finding out more about it, or wanting to use the pattern also themselves, like you, Debbie. I will say that I did make mine a little taller, deeper, however you want to refer to it, than what hers was in her pattern. I wanted to put a little more junk in the trunk, I guess. I wanted to be able to take the kitchen sink with me. Oh, but yeah, you can make it whatever size you like. But they are really, really fun. And like I said, just like the baskets, they become very addictive to make, just like slow stitching is very, very addictive. Once you start working on slow stitching, it is something that, yeah, is hard to put down. But, and I am going to, thank you for asking, June, but that's really, really something I just really don't want to get into on a live, but thank you for asking. Not a place I want to go and discuss. Sorry. I hope you can appreciate that, but thank you very much for asking. And I'm getting right down to the point here, so that's where I need to make sure that I end up with the one stitch right at the bottom so that I can turn and end up with that V going back up the other direction. And I'm going to run out of thread. So before it gets too short, I'm going to go ahead and bring this to the back, which now you'll get to see how the back looks there. And I'm going to knot that off. Thank you for understanding, June. And thank you, Mike. Yes, I do like the thread choice on this, which the outer, this is the inner heart, the outer heart. As soon as I turn that back over, the larger outer heart that goes around that will be filled in the red, but I need to do that section first, because then I will work from it going out to do that. And throw my little thread piece over there. Put this needle in there for right now, because since we ran out of thread on there, I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you how I'm going to work on what I'm calling my river section over here, which this line that has where I am going to be ending that, I am going to just do a back stitch on, which you are just going forward, taking your needle and putting it right in the end of the stitch that you just made. And that's why it's called a back stitch, because you're going back into the hole of your last part of that, bringing it forward from where you came up and going. And depending on what you are making on these determines the length of your stitch, because again, we're working on curves. Some of them have to be a little smaller than the others to make it go around that curve. And all of this was just drawn on the hand, freehand, which if I lay my hand here, you see that is my hand traced on the fabric. The ring that is on there is a ring that I happened to be wearing the day that I traced my hand. So that I decided to put in there and then have the kind of like the light reflecting off it going out from there. And this is fabric that has been cut and appliqued and put down on there. And there will be some stitching embellishment going on top of that also. But there you saw proof positive that is my hand. All the ugly arthritic knuckles and everything. Oh. But yeah, as I said, which I'm going to have to message my son, because I was talking with my grandson on the phone, several months ago. And I asked him at the time to please have his sister, himself, and his mom and dad all trace their hands on a piece of paper and send to me. And I think he forgot to relay that information. So I'll have to get with my son and see to it that he does that. And I think I have decided, I'm kind of glad that it took some time, because I think I have come up with a better idea. My granddaughter, Jewel, is quite the artist. She's 12, 11, 12 years, yeah, 11, 12 years old, I believe. And she was even participated in doing a mural on the church, one of the church walls here just last weekend or the weekend before. She makes 3D masks that she just comes up with the idea on her own, puts them together, and they end up having moving parts and everything. She is just awesome. She won 3 blue ribbons in her county fair for artwork that she entered. So yeah, she is an awesome creative spirit and artist as well. So what I want is for them all to trace their hands, and then I would like her to do some artwork on the hands, and then I will do all the embroidery work on top of what she does for the handwork. Joe says that she could slow stitch for hours. Yes, it is just so you can lose track of time when you are slow stitching. And as you see, it's also easy to carry on a conversation as you slow stitch. So, and Sandra really is here. Good afternoon to you, Sandra. Thank you for popping on as well. Yes, and she is, which her son says, yeah, and she takes after me is what he says. Definitely has my creative side, which yeah. And They are both my grandson and my granddaughter are very, very smart as well. But great kids. My son and his wife are doing an awesome job in raising them. Okay, so now what I am going to do, what I have in mind is I just want to do a bunch of straight stitches. Move that up because I'm at the bottom working up now. Close together, different lengths is what I'm basically going to do to fill that in. So I will do long one, come back with a short one to fill the space in. And so we need to go a little farther before we do that. Keeping them next to each other. I'm just going to go over here. Do another one down to there so that I will be filling this in with random straight stitches. And I can change the direction of those also to make it easier to judge where I want them and then fill in from where I make them on either side. But that is the way that I am going to fill in my river. And it will turn out beautiful as well because of using the variegated thread. It's going to change on its own. I do have a lighter blue that I may switch to and put some of that in there as well to add depth and texture to it. But that is how we work on a slow stitch project, just deciding what we want to do as we go along on it. To make a shorter little stitch here. Here. Just doing that to fill in all the background so that it looks like the water of the river. Want to make sure that I get the movement of that curve in, so I'm going to go and make some of these going that direction. Back up there. I'm used to working closer in my lap than way up on a surface away from me when I'm stitching, but I'm also getting used to because of the number of times that I've shown that working on slow stitch on the tips and everything for all of you. I'm getting a little bit more used to being able to work with it at a distance away from me also. Right now, I'm just making some random stitches and I will go back and figure out where I need to fill in with the short ones and long ones to fill that in. Want to get as close to that outside of that red heart as well, so that we don't have a gap there after it is completed. And hello, Donna. It is great to see you this afternoon as well. She says, wow, that is looking beautiful and slow stitch for the bonus. Yes. Yes, I am a lover of slow stitching. So I have many works in progress that are slow stitching projects. What I'm hoping to do is be able to actually complete some of the many ones I have laying around. And my thread is getting too short. I don't like to work too far to where then I forget and don't have enough to tie the knot. So while I'm on the back, I'm going to flip that over and tie my knot. And I think I know what I'm going to do on another section. So to give you an idea on that, we're going to stop on that. And oops, over here, I have kind of a curly cue for some vines. And then I am going to do French knots on top of that so that it looks like vines and flowers there. So I have a variegated green, of course, that I am going to use for that. And I am going to do a stem stitch along that curlicue line. As soon as I get my needle threaded here. All right, go through there. There we go. Yes, I use a needle threader the majority of the time. Okay, what needle did I just pick up that I have two of them stuck in there? Stick that one over there. And make sure that we put a knot in the end of our thread. Ooh, I cut that a little long. Which I will lay it over so you can see how I do a quilter's knot. I just laid that thread over top of the needle. I pinch it with my thumb and my finger. I just wrap it around once, put it between the thumb and the finger, and then pull slowly, slide it all the way through to the end, and you end up with your little knot on the end. That is how I knot my needles. And now I have to think, okay, how I do which direction I need to go for my stem stitch. I think I need to work this way from the other end. We'll find out here in a minute. I'll know right away if I'm working the wrong direction. And we're going the right. And this is a curve, so I want to keep my loop, my thread on top of the needle. And we're going around that curve, so we have to do small little stitches. If it gets too far, we will actually have to do a tiny little stitch so that it doesn't, when we get way over here. See, because it will have a tendency to want to go the wrong direction on me. If it does that, I will take it out and I will show how we keep it going around the curve. But right now we're doing pretty good. Except I keep getting my long thread because I cut it too long caught down there. And the majority time when I am doing embroidery, I do not need um, a thimble. Every once in a while, yes, but the majority of the time I find that I can do my embroidery without a thimble. And we are just curving around here. We have to have our vine first because, of course, flowers can't grow in midair. They have to have something to grow on. So we will do our vine first and then do the French knots that are going to resemble the flowers because I want a lot of tiny little ones going around it. What is the size of the needle I am using? It is, I'm using a couple different ones. So this one is a 24 chenille needle. It's either a 24 or 26. I can't tell exactly, but that's what I'm using right now because I am using the number 8 weight pearl cotton, which is just a little bit heavier. So not able to use what I would normally be using is a number 7 um, embroidery needle. But the number 8 pearl cotton is a little thick to get through the eye of the needle on a size 7 embroidery needle. So then I will move up to it's either the 24 or the 26 chenille needle. Instead, it has a little larger eye on it. Good question, June. You are welcome. Oops, missed the stitch name. Dog demanded my attention. No problem, Don. I'm doing the stem stitch. It can be referred to either the stem stitch or the outline stitch. They are the same. You just want to always keep in mind that if you have a curve and depending on what you're using it, you need to pay attention to the way that you keep the thread either at the bottom of your needle or the top of your needle. And for this, I'm making sure that it's at the top because I want it to be on the outside of my vine. And you usually go with the direction. Oops. Whoops. Oh, I was about to change that because of the curve, which we came into where I've got curves going both ways right now. So right now I am actually going to switch and I'm going to have the thread now on the bottom of my needle because I have got my curve going the other direction. And that will keep the stitch line the correct direction, which I will hold this up in just a minute and show you that a little closer. Sorry, trying to keep the fabric out of the way as I do this so you can see as much as possible while I'm stitching it. But hello, Joyce. It's great to see you. I always forget that you guys call Mike Charlie. I was going to say, it's Charlie. I didn't see a Charlie come in. And then I remember that soul brother Mike. We all have our names for Mike. He's got to keep them all straight. Okay. And I'm at the end of that one. So I will try and bring this up the correct way so you can see the stitching on that as well. But that is the stem stitch. Don't move my mouse out of the way there. And you can see very lightly, just in pencil, I have the other curl right there. That is going to be the other part of the vine. And we can show some of that chain stitch that I did there again as well. And we can show where I'm doing just the straight stitch using long and short stitches on the river there on that part that I did. And on the middle part of this ring that I did when I wasn't here, that is a satin stitch that filled the ruby in that's in the middle of that ring that is on my finger. And the rest is just back stitch that is on there for now. But my thread is long enough, and because there is going to be a back eventually on this, none of the stitching is going to show. I am not going to cut my thread. I know, such a no, 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 no. Oops, and I have to start at this end to be going the correct direction. I am going to go ahead and just come over here and start my stem stitch on this little curly Q and try and get it done as well. And we are taking a little longer today, I see. I didn't realize, see, it is so relaxing to do long stitch. Well, I was looking at the wrong thing. No, we're not at the hour yet. But you can lose all track of time when you are doing slow stitch because it is just so relaxing, as you have found out, Donna, in the small amount that you have done so far. You've found out just how enjoyable it is and how relaxing it can be. Very, very addictive also. But when we call, the crocheting of the totes and the baskets addictive, the slow stitching addictive, it is a good type of addiction. So not harmful in any way, except maybe to the pocketbook. But on projects like this, you're really just using, leftovers from stuff you already have. So it's very cost effective also. Unless you become a thread snob like me. Yes, I did call myself a thread snob. I am. I like expensive threads. I'm sorry. And Mike is laughing at something. But see, now to go around this curve, I switched. My yarn's going to be on top of the needle. I was on the bottom, but we need to keep it on the top for that one. We need to do just a real small one here to get back down to this curve without it messing up. And then going back to having the thread on the bottom of the needle so that it's following the curve again. And we're almost done with this portion. And I think we are going to do pink flowers. That's the thread that I seem to have in here anyway. So I believe that is what I will be going with. And on the last one, on a stem stitch, you just go straight down so that you can end it. And that portion is done. Whoa, forgot where I was there. We were at the other end, but that's all right. Pull the end of my thread out there. Here we go. And get the knots in there. and we can trim that. And it is pouring down rain outside. Set that over there. That's what we have done so far. And I will go ahead. I think I have another needle available here. Which one? Oops, we almost lost that one. Making sure that's not a long one. I don't want a long one. That one will work. And we'll get our pink. Oh, we've already got one in here. We don't even have to thread it. How convenient. So I'm going to go ahead and do some of the French knots. You'll notice they are not marked at all. They're just going to be done randomly. Mike says that he is a textile snob. Well, I have a tendency to be that as well. Mike wasn't gonna go there, but and Donna says, indeed, great way to unwind from job stress. Yes, any type of stress whatsoever. But and Andrea says, I used to do a lot of embroidery when I was young. Then I discovered cross stitch, and this is reminding me how much I loved it. My mom got me a little paperback book called 100 Embroidery Stitches. Yes, and which one of the books that I have several of and keep. And I always show, I was going to hold it up to the thing. It's the hand embroidery stitches at a glance. It is a great reference, carry along reference guide. And you can find that at some of your local quilt shops, but you can also find it on Amazon if you want to jot that down. Anybody, it's just called Hand Embroidery Stitches at a Glance. And I keep that handy because every once in a while you need to remind yourself, okay, now how do I do that stitch? But or it just gives you some ideas sometimes too. But I also do cross stitch, Andrea. I do almost every needle art except for I do know how to knit. I just do not do, I'm not a good knitter. I'm a very, very basic beginner knitter. So I do not do a lot of knitting. Yeah. Yeah. You always kind of have to refresh your memory on a lot of the stitches. But I'm just going to randomly start on this. And for a French knot, you bring your thread up and you hold it, you wrap it around your needle, usually twice. And that's what I'm going to do to start out with. If I don't like the size of that on some of them, I may end up wrapping it 3 times. But then you hold it down with your other finger tight while you bring your needle, through to the back side, holding that loop until the very end. And that will form, which you probably won't even be able to see it because that's a little one, a teeny tiny little knot on top. And as I do several of those here, and I am going to, I think, wrap it 3 times instead. I will go from wrapping it twice to 3 times, varying it to make different size little itty bitty flowers along this vine. And it doesn't want to pull through, it's being hard. And that is a French knot. And just to show you the difference between a French knot and a colonial knot, my thread wrapped around my ring. A colonial knot, you bring it up, you hold your thread this way, you take your needle under it, make a figure 8 and wrap it. Hold it the same way and bring your needle through. And it is just a different form of knot that looks basically the same. It gives you a more substantial knot when you're doing a colonial knot than when you are doing a French knot. but I will just be doing these randomly all around this vine. I need to move some of my needles I've got sticking up there because I keep getting my batting stuck on them. We need to move them down here into my pin cushion that's down here instead. I have a tendency to leave them up there more than I need. And I'm going to bring those down there instead. There. Now I won't be getting caught on them as I'm doing this. And Andrea says, I have my grandmother's tatting shuttles, but she passed away before she could teach me. Yes, that is one thing I have done very little of. I took a class with some ladies. It was just a free class. They were showing how to do it, but and they were doing needle tatting instead of with the shuttle. I have my grandmother's shuttle someplace, probably in the drawer inside her treadle sewing machine. Because she did tatting, beautiful tatting. She would do little tatting, and way back then she did card making, and she would use some of her tatting as embellishments on the cards that she made. Oops, and there we got a knot where we don't want a knot. And I have to try and get that out. Hopefully I'll get it. We will work at it. Oh, sometimes it takes a while, especially when you got one as bad as this one. But I usually don't give up. I work at it until I get it out. I have to figure out which way I need to go with it. And we may not get it out. We may not get it out while on camera anyway. And we are, yes. Do you see how that happened right at the hour's time? Said, Jean, everything has worked smoothly. Now we're going to mess it up. But I will keep sticking my needle in here like I am. And I will eventually get that knot out. I'm not going to make you suffer through and watch me work on that, but I will get that out. But we are going to go ahead since it is on the end of my hour. We'll show, which it's not going to show up because they're all behind where the knot is, but there are the French knots so far that I have on there. But I will continue to work on that off camera, and we'll probably share that with you at the end of the week on the weekend review and see how much I am able to get done on that by that time. But let me go ahead and pop back in. Hello, I'm still here. But thank you, everyone that joined me this afternoon. I hope that some of you that haven't tried slow stitching will give it a try. There's many different things that you can do in the form of slow stitching. There are many different things that I do. The needle books that I do are slow stitching. I have shown you some of that. I have a snippet roll that I am doing, and I need to work on the next page of that also. So lots of fun ideas and ways that you can use slow stitching, and just pick up something and just do a bunch of stitches on it. You don't have to have any picture or anything in mind. But yeah, this is just my hand saw it, came across it, thought, oh, that looks like fun, and decided to do it. And we'll be doing, like I said, a book of everyone in my family's hands eventually. I think that will be neat to have all those in a book, and I will do something that makes me think of them on everyone's hand. So thank you, Mike, for joining in, and I'm glad you thought it was fun. And Joyce says, bye, Jean and everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you. And Debbie popping in to say bye, everyone. Bye-bye. And June says, thanks for sharing your great stitching. Very interesting to learn. Thank you, June. And Donna says, thanks. More ideas for the list. And Joe says, snippet rolls. She loves snippet rolls. Okay, we'll have to get together and see each other's snippet rolls, Joe. I'll go back and check. I haven't come across any on your, I've been going back watching the replays of your old videos that I haven't seen. So I will try and find those. If not, we'll just have to get together sometime, Joe, maybe on a Zoom or something off to the side and do some stitching together. Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, Jim and Debbie Williams as well. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. If you are in some of the bad weather that is expected, I hope that you stay safe. And remember, as always, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.